spoke about a plan to herself using sleeping pills.
One moment, Miss Adelson. Please keep your comments to yourself. Let your lawyer argue on your behalf.
We got a mother and son combo for this week. Charlie Adelson, we had his sentencing, and then Donna Adelson, she had her arraignment. Donna Adelson is not happy with how she's being treated in the jail right now, and her lawyer filed an emergency motion saying that she hasn't been able to contact her client, which is really important because it's been, almost like a couple weeks now, and they have to go over discovery stuff. And she was finally able to reach Donna Adelson with the help of Georgia Kaplan. So in court today, we're going to listen to the emergency motion part of it, and we have complete opposites of opinions going on here with Donna Adelson, her attorney, versus the staff at the jail who say that there hasn't been any impediment with you meeting your client. And yes, Donna is under direct observation, but she's still allowed to meet with her lawyer. We're going to hear from two groups that have complete opposite opinions on this. And I don't like Donna either, and especially her attitude throughout some of these court appearances. I'm not going to point my fingers at Donna and say that she's lying right off the bat or accuse her attorney of lying as well. Nor will I jump the gun and say, well, the jailhouse staff, they're treating her like crap because they don't like her. Even though I don't like Donna, I still want to give both sides a benefit of the doubt, unless there's more things that come out later on that shows that someone truly is lying in this scenario. Sorry, it's really early. I'm still pretty tired. it's 8 o'clock a.m. right now. All right, so let's read this. Filed on December 5th, 2023. Oh, that's Dennis's birthday. Emergency motion to enjoin the jail for an independent psychological evaluation or release to house arrest. Can you imagine Donna house arrest? This is a woman who had a one-way ticket to Vietnam. Donna house arrest? No, thank you. Donna Sue Adelson, pursuant to the United States Constitution, hereby moves this court to enjoin the Leon County Jail from subjecting her to her current conditions of confinement and direct the Leon County Jail to place Donna in a unit where she can prepare for trial and speak to her family or conduct independent psychological evaluation, or to be placed in a different unit where she can properly prepare for trial and speak to her family. Alternatively, she requests to be released on house arrest, coupled with standard conditions of pretrial release in support thereof states as follows. So this is the introduction. We'll get to this part later. But yeah, we're not no house arrest. No, not for Donna. She was going to escape. She was going to go to Vietnam. You know, we don't want her running off. We want her to see. We want to watch her in trial. We want to make sure that Dan Markel's family gets more justice. So the reason why Donna Adelson was put into, I think it's like some sort of like a suicide watch essentially, was because I believe it was after the verdict, her and Charlie had a phone call. And in this phone call, she was talking about essentially unaliving herself. And she also talked about, I believe even, oh man, I wish we could just listen to the phone call because I'm just trying to remember what the court, what the doc said. It was unaliving herself, and I think her, talking about plans to go somewhere. I don't know if she lives in Vietnam specifically, but they listened to this call and they're like, hey, this woman says she had plans to unalive herself. So we have to make sure she doesn't do that. We have to make sure she's in a safe environment, because if she were to unalive herself, then, we're going to have to be responsible for that. So we're not going to be responsible for that.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Stephen Miller presiding.
Good afternoon. Everyone can be seated.
Judge.
Mr. Scalzo, I've reviewed your emergency motion to enjoin the jail. Is there any further argument or testimony that you wish to take in support of your motion?
Your Honor, I'll just add to supplement to my motion, which was filed last week, that we are now on day 22 of direct observation. Mrs. Adelson continues unable to participate in her defense. She's not permitted any papers. I cannot mail her anything. I did have a call with her on Friday, but only because Mrs. Kappelman facilitated it for me. And on that call, it was not a private call. Ms. Adelson was forced to put me on speakerphone with guards listening. There is just no way that Mrs. Adelson can prepare for her defense in this manner.
All right. There is one question that I had specifically as to this issue, and I noticed within your pleading that you had quotes from your client and also some observations of what has been taking place with the correctional staff. Are you alleging that you have no ability to access your client, or that there is limited contact with your client?
No, Your Honor. I'm not saying that there is no ability. The direct observations that are contained within my motion were not observed by myself, but Daniel Rashbaum, Charlie Adelson's attorney, had a visit with Charlie Adelson, and he was able to swap it out for Miss Donna Adelson the week of, I think, November 27th or 28th. So he was able to have that conversation with her in person. I've had a conversation with her, like I said, over the phone. I have been told that I can do a 60-minute increment visit with her in person. There is no video visitation.
Wait, so how was Charlie's lawyer able to see her? She said something about like doing a swap, but like how the lawyer was the lawyer was supposed to meet with Charlie, but then did a swap and then got to meet with her instead. I wonder how come she wasn't able to meet with her. All right, introduction. Donna Adelson, 73-year-old grandmother, was arrested in Miami, Florida on November 13, 2023, after her son, Charles Adelson, was convicted of murdering Dan Markel in an alleged murder for hire plot. I feel like putting the grandmother there is like trying to like give her some sympathy. They could just say 73-year-old woman. It's like saying like, oh, 73-year-old father, 73-year-old grandmother. That having that title right there kind of just like gives a little bit more like a little bit of a nudge for sympathy. After her son, Charles Adelson, was convicted of murdering Dan Markel in an alleged murder for hire plot, the evidence against Donna is circumstantial at best. While Donna's been charged with a crime, there's a presumption of innocence in this country. Very true. Donna's entitled to a fair trial. Yep. Has a right to counsel and has a right against cruel and unusual punishment. To date, all of Donna's rights have been violated despite the presumption of innocence in place. Arrest and time in Miami-Dade County. On November 13, 2023, Donna was arrested and transported to TGK jail in Miami-Dade County. Upon arrival at TGK jail, Donna was placed in a psychiatric unit because of her charges against her. Well, it's also because, what she was saying on that phone call with Charlie Adelson. She was placed in an isolation cell with a small sink, mattress on the floor, blanket, and a toilet. Donna did not have any access to clothes, cups, silverware, books, blankets, or toiletries, and was only permitted to shower once. Although she had access to counsel, she was not permitted to use her phone to contact family members. Following two psychiatric evaluations, Donna was cleared within 96 hours of her arrest and placed in general population where she was able to contact her family and attorney. Donna's mental state has not changed since the determination by the psychiatrist at TGK Miami. So she was held for a bit, and after 96 hours, she was in Gen Pop. Okay. Transportation to Leon County Jail. On November 20, 2023, around noon, Donna was picked up from TGK Jail and transported to Leon County Jail. Her transporters placed her in the back of the transport vehicle with no water. Several hours into the journey, Donna tried to get the attention of the officers because she needed water and a restroom stop, but she was not able to get their attention. Approximately 4 to 5 hours into the trip, when the officers finally checked on her, Donna was shaking, dehydrated, unable to stand or move. As a result, the officers had to call paramedics to a rest stop. Leon County Jail. Upon arrival, the Leon County Jail officials put her in the infirmary under direct observation. She was then placed in a small solitary unit with a toilet, sink, and mattress on the floor and a dirty blanket. So I guess what I'm wondering here is she was already under direct, direct observation. She was already under direct observation, which I guess is like suicide watch. And she was cleared after 96 hours. Is it because now she's transported to a new county jail? They have to like reevaluate her or something? Is that what happened here? I guess I'm just not really understanding it. She has requested a book or a Bible, but has not been given anything and has been forced to eat her food with her hands. Well, yeah, I guess she's not getting utensils because, if you're on a suicide watch, I guess. The day after arriving in the Leon County Jail, one of the jail's mental health officials, began questioning Donna about medications she was taking before she was arrested. Donna felt uncomfortable during this interaction because she could not see the official's face and wanted to verify that they were in fact a healthcare professional, but the official would not verify. Like, did she want to see the official's badge, I guess? Maybe credentials? When Donna made her concerns known, the official told Donna that Donna is a fancy white lady who murdered her son and now thinks she has rights. The official joked with other guards about this outside of Donna's door. The official then said that Donna will learn that fancy white lady murderers have no rights here, and told Donna, "Do you see where you are? Do you see where I am? I'm out here because I'm not a murderer." Since that interaction, some of the jail staff has treated Donna with cruelty. She sometimes denied her necessary blood pressure medication, and she's been prevented from showering for days at a time. In the 15 days that Donna has been in Leon County Jail, she's only been permitted to call her husband once on November 28, 2023 for approximately 5 minutes while the guards stood watch. It was only with the help of intervention of the state that this call took place. I don't know. So far, this is going to be kind of tough to prove unless it's like recorded. It's just going to be like he said, she said, in reference to like the comments made by the guards. It was not only with the help of the intervention of the state that this call took place. Oh, and she did mention that the reason why the defense attorney was able to have communication with Donna was because Georgia Kaplan intervened on her behalf. Donna has not been permitted to call her counsel at all. Yikes. At one point, a psychiatrist working at the jail told Donna that she does not belong in solitary unit, and another jail officials also told Donna the same thing. Then why is she in there? As a result of the cruel and inhumane conditions, Donna is becoming weaker and weaker every day because she does not have phone access. It has been impossible for her to contact her counsel, take part in defense, despite repeated attempts to call the jail, set up video visitation, and or set up a person visitation. Undersigned counsel has been unable to communicate with Donna since her transfer to Leon County Jail. Both undersigned counsel and the state have tried to get help from jail to no avail. All right, let's go back to here.
Ability. So I would say that there is no video visitation ability. So I would say that my ability to meet with her is limited. It's not non-existent.
Listen, I just want everything to go through smoothly because we want Donna to see her day on trial. Okay, we don't want there to be any mess ups, any weird shit going on because we're dealing with that right now with the Murdoch stuff and Becky Hill, and we're waiting to see what happens with the investigation and stuff. But we just want things to go smoothly. Treat Donna fairly. And I mean, assuming, because like she said she hasn't met with her, they hadn't really met, which is kind of weird to me. Even if you were placed on like suicide watch, like how would you not really have access to your lawyer? I don't know. That seems kind of weird to me.
However, my ability to share, for example, discovery, paperwork, the motion I filed with Ms. Adelson is non-existent because she's not permitted to have paper.
Very well. We'll take up the other aspect of this in a moment, actually, which deals with the level of confinement and what is going on with it. Ms. Kappelman, does the state have any argument to make concerning this?
I think I did hear about that her lawyer is actually not, her lawyer is probably like in Miami, right? So she probably has to commute to go see Donna.
This matter.
The state would defer to Mr. Toomey, who's here to speak on those matters that I think you're addressing right now.
Very well. Mr. Pimentel, Mr. Toomey.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon.
As far as this particular issue goes, there is no impediment to her speaking with her lawyer, seeing her lawyer, over and above using a tablet. The tablet has a headset that can be used as a ligature. Otherwise, she's free to enter the jail. Chief Mack is here. He's assured me that they can have visit. I don't understand the problem that is perceived.
Yeah, I don't know, man. We're getting like diametrically opposite perspectives. He's saying that there's no, she can go visit Donna. There's been no issue. I don't understand what it is. And the lawyer is saying that like, I haven't been able to see my client. We did have a 60-minute call finally because Georgia helped us out. And other than that, I haven't really gotten in contact with her. So I don't know. It's like,
But
what is the issue here?
There is no impediment to an attorney-client visitation. Am I correct?
The first question, we'll have Chief Mack give some testimony so that way we have a clear record. But the level
like where is the disconnect?
of confinement and also the current restrictions that are in place, are these because there were at some point statements alluding to self-harm during the jail phone calls?
And at booking here. When she was booked into the jail here, she made a statement that she wanted to die. Now, before she was arrested in Miami,
Donna over here shaking her head and she's laughing. All right, hold on. Let's go over to Donna really quick because I just want to see her reaction to all of this.
Calls.
and at booking here. When she was booked into the jail here, she made a statement that she wanted to die. Now, before she was arrested in Miami, she also had a phone call with her son, who's obviously in jail here. 25-minute phone call. I personally listened to it. She very clearly spoke about a plan to kill herself using sleeping pills.
One moment, Miss Adel.
Oh my God. The attorney's like, shut the fuck up, Donna. Shut up. You see that Donna said, "Oh my God," out loud, and the attorney put her hand and was like, "Shh, Donna, stop it. Stop it. Control yourself." Hi, Cynthia. How are you doing today? Hello. Cynthia, thank you so much for the 19. I really appreciate that. Thank you. So happy. Remember when you started? Hi. Hello, hello. Yeah, Donna, calm down, Donna. Damn. I wonder if Donna's going to be like, I was just joking. I can't believe you idiots took me seriously. I didn't want to self-harm myself. I don't know. We haven't listened to the jailhouse calls yet between her and Charlie Adelson.
Who's obviously in jail here. 25-minute phone call. I've personally listened to it. She very clearly spoke about a plan to kill herself using sleeping pills.
One moment, Ms. Adelson, please keep your comments to yourself. Let your lawyer argue on your behalf.
Spoke of a plan to kill herself if she could not escape the country before arrest. That was known to the folks in this jail when she got here. That's why she's on watch.
Oh man, my alert went through super late. Thank you, thank you. She said, "Oh my God," she was shaking her head, and then I think she's just gonna say that I was just kidding on those jailhouse calls, or maybe she's accusing them of lying. But we had the arrest affidavit.
To kill herself if she could not escape the country before arrest. That was known to the folks in this jail when she got here. That's why she's on watch. The mental health professionals see her every day. They are not satisfied that she's safe, and it's up to them to decide it.
I'll give you an opportunity to respond, Mr. Scalzo. Mr. Toomey, one more thing before we move on into taking Chief Mack's testimony. Is there a specific procedure that the jail has for dealing with inmates with a threat of self-harm?
Yeah, what is the procedure?
Chief Mack, let me swear you in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes, sir.
If you can explain to me what the procedure is, Chief Mack, and from there, Mr. Toomey, Mr. Pimentel, I'll allow you to direct Chief Mack on any other matters you believe to be pertinent. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Anytime anyone makes a statement or we get evidence of someone wants to actually harm themselves, they're placed on direct observation. On direct observation, they receive a smock as well as a suicide blanket. And they're placed in an isolated room. It's just direct observation is what it really is. So we have a staff member outside the door that actually watches them around the clock, make sure they don't cause any harm to themselves.
She's shaking her head.
When are the individuals who are under this status reevaluated for going back to general population?
That's done daily with Yes Care personnel.
Mr. Toomey, if you have any further examination for Chief Mack, I'll allow you to do so at this time.
Very briefly. Chief, is there a way for someone that's on suicide watch to have a direct visit with their lawyer?
Yes, we will pull the individual from the particular area that they're housed in and put them in an office with just the attorney.
Yeah, then I wonder what the disconnect is, because how come her lawyer hasn't been able to meet with Donna then?
And
They're saying
Are
there's no
there any
issue.
remote capabilities for someone who is in the suicide or close watch observation wing,
remote capabilities,
as far as phone calls, Zoom, tablets, things of that nature?
that person will be escorted to an office where we can actually see through the door, a glass window, and the officer will stand on the outside and just watch them from the outside.
And this is related to any concerns you have about self-harm?
Yes, that's because of we just keep constant view, keep them in vision, to make sure that they don't do anything or pick up anything they can take back to the room and harm themselves later.
Mr. Scalzo, do you have an examination for Chief Mack?
Her lawyer just needs to make an appointment and show up exactly how Charlie's does it. Yeah, because I mean, if Charlie's lawyer was able to see Donna and he said, she said that he did like a swap. I guess like initially the lawyer was going to meet with Charlie, but then ended up swapping the appointment and meeting with Donna instead, and he was able to. Yeah, there has to be some sort of disconnect.
I do, Your Honor.
All right, let's see what she says.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may.
Thank you.
Let
Would
us
you like
know.
me to proceed from here?
That's fine.
Thank you, Your Honor. Chief Mackey, am I pronouncing that correctly?
Mac. Let me see
Chief
that.
Mack. Chief Mack. have you listened to this 25-minute call that Ms. Adelson had before she was arrested?
Not in its entirety. I actually heard the portion where she was speaking of wanting to do a pact with her husband. I'm assuming that's who the individual was.
Chief Mack, do you participate in the decision on whether Ms. Adelson needs to remain on direct observation?
No, ma'am, that's a medical.
Okay, is the medical person that makes that decision a psychiatrist or another person?
That's Dr. Sapp.
So is Dr. Sapp a psychiatrist?
Donna right here.
Okay. Do you know if Dr. Sapp has examined Ms. Adelson?
She advised me that she spoke with her on different occasions or been around the area while another clinician was talking with her.
Well, how is Ms.
Donna can't help herself. Donna, she can't help herself making all these facial expressions, stuff like that. I don't know, man. Maybe in Donna's world, maybe she vehemently disagrees with everything Chief Mack is saying.
Spoke with her on different occasions or been around the area while another clinician was talking with her.
Well, how is Ms.
Not true.
Dr. Zapp?
Sapp.
Zapp. How is Dr. Zapp?
Sapp.
Zach with a C, I'm sorry?
If you could spell it, Chief Mack.
SAPP. Sapp.
Zapp. So how is Dr. Zapp supposed to determine whether Mrs. Adelson can be removed from direct observation if she doesn't evaluate her?
From what I was advised, she has evaluated her and also other members of her staff.
Chief Mack, would it surprise you if Dr. Zapp has not evaluated Mrs. Adelson at all?
Oh.
I couldn't say that I wouldn't think that she would tell me something that wasn't true.
Do you have a report from Dr. Zapp establishing, I'm sorry.
I wouldn't take, because of HIPAA laws, I don't necessarily get involved with medical paperwork of that nature.
Chief Mack, did you come to court today knowing that you were going to testify about whether or not Mrs. Adelson was on direct observation or not?
I knew I was supposed to be here, but the extent, I can't say I was privileged to told that I was going to actually testify, but I was prepared if I did.
Okay. And Chief Mack, knowing that you had to come here today possibly to testify, did you inquire how many times Dr. Zapp had met with Mrs. Adelson?
I did not, because they actually see everyone that's on direct daily, and it's more than just Miss Adelson.
Chief Mack, are you?
So Donna clearly thinks Chief Mack is lying right now. So Donna just mouthed not even once. So I guess Donna is trying to say that this doctor, Dr. Zapp, hasn't even met her with her once. And I think Dr. Zapp is supposed to evaluate Donna on a daily basis, see if that, she still belongs in confinement or not.
With Mrs. Adelson?
I did not, because they actually see everyone that's on direct daily, and it's more than just Miss Adelson.
Chief Mack, are you aware that Dr. Zapp has never evaluated or met with Mrs. Adelson?
I can only go what I've been told by Ms. Sapp.
Chief Mack, are you aware that Dr. Pugh is the only psychiatrist that has seen Mrs. Adelson, and that was on November 27th?
I didn't get that information as to who saw her. All I needed to know, or all I need to be privileged to, is that she needed to be on direct observation.
Chief Mack, do you have a list of all the times that Mrs. Adelson has been evaluated to determine whether she can be removed from direct observation?
Like I previously said, the only time I know they see them daily. And with that, I don't get any paperwork because I'm not a medical professional. I'm just making sure that her safety is taken care of.
Of course, Chief Mack, but just to be clear, I'm not asking whether you've seen any paperwork. I'm asking in preparation for coming here today, were you advised how many times she had visits?
No.
Did you ask how many times she had been visited?
Not just knowing that she's being seen daily. I don't ask who actually saw her or what the conversation was pertaining to.
Chief Mack, if she is being visited daily, would there be a report of those visits?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, there should be paperwork on this, right? Like, wouldn't there be like an evaluation chart you have to fill out every time you meet with Donna Adelson? Do we have those?
Yes, it should be notes that they take.
To the
Daily.
daily.
Right.
Okay. And Chief Mack, if what you're saying is what you were told is correct, there should be a report from Dr. Zapp and from whatever clinician is meeting her daily, right? About the evaluation.
Yes, I would assume it is.
And Chief Mack, did you know that Mrs. Adelson was actually arrested in Miami?
Yes,
Okay. And did you know that she spent some time in jail in Miami?
yes,
And did you know that she was there for about 5 days before she was transported to Leon County?
it should be something like that, yes.
And were you aware that she was at a county jail, very similar to the Leon County jail?
Well, I've never been to Miami's facility, so I can't tell you exactly what they do or what their policies are.
Okay. Chief Mack, were you aware that Mrs. Adelson was also on direct observation in Miami-Dade County for a period of time while she was there?
Yeah, I don't know. She's I feel like he's it's like a cross-examination here. She's pretty aggressive.
No, I didn't actually see any paperwork of it.
And Chief Mack, did anybody tell you, any of your clinicians tell you that actually Mrs. Adelson was evaluated by the same psychiatrist over a period of 72 hours in Miami, and she was released to general population?
I heard something of it, but I don't necessarily, I go by our contract provider. When we do
Donna's frustrated.
anything in the health.
Who told you that she might have been evaluated in Miami and released to general population?
It was just something that was said. I think she may have spoken to an officer and said it.
Yeah, see, because I feel like we're not really getting much because we're getting Donna's side of the story, right? Donna's version, and then we're getting a version from someone who doesn't really know too much. His job is just to make sure Donna's safe, and his job, he just says, like, I know that like she's supposed to be visited every day by an evaluator. I don't know who exactly. I don't have the reports or anything like that, but I mean, I know that she's supposed to be. So like, we're not really getting like a full story here. But I mean, if I was Donna and if everything that she said was true, and that's a big if right there, then yeah, I would be pissed too. Because I'm like, why am I here? I was in Gen Pop, why am I being detained here? Why am I not having access to my lawyer? Like, I would be pissed too if I was her. But then again, we don't have the full story. Like I said, there's some disconnect somewhere. I mean, it's possible that they're just fucking with her, but I mean, I'd rather believe that there's a disconnect than just, full force just be like, oh my God, these people are corrupt. They're just fucking with her. They don't like her. They're treating her poorly just because she's, she's a murderer and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll never even find out what the disconnect is.
Chief Mack, if she would have spoken to a clinician about that, you wouldn't know about that, right? Because that's HIPAA?
I wouldn't have known about it because I didn't speak to my clinicians. I just speak with them about Ms. Adelson in general.
What general conversations are you having about Mrs. Adelson with your clinicians, Chief Mack?
It's just how they evaluated her and where she is in her evaluation.
Okay.
If she's going to be released on a step-down program or anything of that nature.
Okay, can you tell us generally what you have been told? What was her evaluation like? When will she be stepped down? What's happening?
All
That's
there's
something
any.
that they will tell me when that occurs, in the way of when she feels as though that Ms. Adelson is at that stage in the process. She will inform me of the step-down process.
Who is she?
That's either of the Yes Care personnel.
He only has to go on the word of a psychiatrist. If the medical professional says they're observing her, it's not his job to question that. Yeah, and then like I think he's saying that like he's not like he's going to get updates on every little thing about Donna Adelson. He's just going to be informed. Okay, she's good to go now. Put her in Gen Pop. You know what? We're going to keep her here. I don't think he's going to get like the update because there's so many other inmates there as well. Not just Donna Adelson.
Normally, it's Dr. Sapp, Dr. Pugh, or Ms. Smith, Ms. Richardson, Tori Richardson.
Okay, so it's Ms. Richardson, Dr. Pugh, and Dr. Zapp. Those are the three people you're communicating with about Mrs. Adelson's treatment or step-down process?
Periodically, I have a captain that actually is over medical, but I go through medical frequently.
Okay. Chief Mack, what did you do to prepare for today's hearing?
I actually just looked at some of the notes, even read the allegations concerning what Ms. Adelson was actually, I think it was more your allegations of what occurred in the facility.
What notes did you review before you came here, Chief Mack?
Other than looking at event logs, pretty much that was the extent of it.
What are event logs?
Event logs are what the officers said that actually on direct observation and documents what's happening while she's on direct observation.
Has there been anything that stood out to you in those event logs that the officers are leaving behind?
Right.
Mr. Scalzo, before this continues on, I want this to remain focused on the subject matter of the motion itself. This is not a deposition. If you have further
Yeah, this is not a deposition. Calm it down a little bit.
examination, I'll allow you to finish.
Thank you, Your Honor. Chief Mack, are you aware that the only person that has been communicating or evaluating Mrs. Adelson since the one time on November 27th that Dr. Pugh saw her is Miss Richardson?
Richardson. I'm not aware of who all. I know Ms. Pugh seen her once, twice. I'm not sure, but it's just I'm getting information from my HSA and Dr. Sapp.
So to go back, you're saying Dr. Zapp has personally told you that Dr. Zapp has visited Mrs. Adelson?
She told me she was in the area with Ms. Adelson. I don't know, because I wasn't present, as to what occurred during that meeting.
So what does it mean she's in the area? That she was around?
Yes, ma'am. That's what she advised me, that she was around.
Did you interpret that to mean that she evaluated Mrs. Adelson or that she was
Maybe it's easier to schedule an appointment and to see them in person rather than trying to get a hold of her client via video/phone call. Maybe that's why Charlie Adelson's lawyer, when he showed up there, was able to meet with Donna. Maybe something's up with the phone lines. I don't know. The officer so show he is. I do like her aggression though. I do appreciate aggressive people sometimes.
area? That she was around?
Yes, ma'am. That's what she advised
Not too
me, that she
aggressive,
was
but
around.
Did you interpret that to mean that she evaluated Mrs. Adelson or that she was around Mrs.
I
Adelson?
interpreted it as she being present in the area.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions.
Mr. Toomey, and I redirect.
Perhaps two. Chief Mack, Ms. Richardson, is she a mental health counselor?
Yes, sir.
All right. If there were notes regarding the interaction between men.
well, I think what they were saying was if they were to have a meeting, I don't know, maybe whether it's video or whatever it is, I believe she's escorted out to like another room and then, but then they wouldn't be able to listen in. Yeah, I don't know how that would work. No, it'd probably just be like on speaker. Probably wouldn't even need to use headphones, right? You can probably just like do like speaker or something like that on like a tablet or something like that. And then just have like an officer just be on the outside, just to be on the lookout in case anything were to happen. Because they said, even though there's someone that's on suicide watch, they still have the ability to meet with their lawyers. And I think that would probably go for video or for phone conference.
Mental health and the defendant in this case, where would those notes be?
I'm going to be in a medical file.
Oh, the notes.
Recognize
Oh, the notes. We've got the notes. Okay, I'm glad somebody brought the notes because I was like, where are the notes at?
this document as her medical file.
Looks kind of thick. That's a pretty thick stack right there.
Moving around a bit. It's been a day.
Yes, I would say that was a medical file.
All right. Do you know if anybody's asked for these besides me?
No, sir.
That's all, Judge.
Chief Mack, you may take your seat. Mr. Toomey, the place I did want to start with there being a procedure in place is to assure that this is not random or arbitrary. Is there a
Yeah, so Mandy says her line of question is ridiculous. She keeps asking about the observation, ask and answer it. He only knows what he has been told by medical professionals. I wonder if there was like maybe an answer that she wanted him to say, and she thought that maybe she kept asking in like different ways that he'll like finally get to the answer that she wants to hear, maybe. Because I know sometimes lawyers be doing that in cross-examination. The defense looked when he showed the paper notes. LOL.
a procedure with regard to inmates with self-harm concerns or direct observation?
There is. It's standard in each and every jail. It is that until a mental health counselor or another mental health provider, like a psychiatrist or psychologist, is assured that that person does not possess or present a risk of self-harm, then they stay on that status. And they figure out where that status is by charting daily. Mental health counselor sees her.
Have you been able to provide a copy of either the policy or the patient file to Ms. Adelson's attorney?
I haven't been asked. I can tell you, before this motion was written, no one has asked for these medical records because I am the final arbiter in this state for this client. I decide whether the records are going out.
Okay, so we were wondering whether or not the defense attorney even asked for the records for these evaluations and stuff like that. What was I going to say? I also do wonder if these evaluations are a little bit kind of like, maybe the evaluations are not as overt. Like when they evaluate her, maybe it's not like a sit down situation where it's like, how are you feeling today? You know, how are you, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Maybe it's just kind of like someone comes by, they kind of examine her to see how she is, see how she's like acting. Maybe they ask her like little tiny questions to see how she responds to it. Because maybe to Donna, it's not obvious that she's being evaluated, but really she was. I don't know. I wonder how these evaluations, like what they look like. Or, you know, it could just be, Donna could just be straight up lying, but.
Very well. Moving on to the second issue that this raises, Ms. Desclazo.
It seems like Donna like vehemently just disagrees with what they were saying.
There is a very specific separation of powers issue that this poses for the court. The sheriff runs the jail. I run my courtroom. The DCAs have been fairly clear when it comes to the court essentially directing medical care, what goes on in the facility. It's basically a no-no without an actual violation of the Constitution. What is my authority to actually step in this situation and give you what you're asking for?
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if maybe she wasn't prepared or maybe she didn't know that the evaluations happen on a daily basis and she didn't know to ask for them, maybe? I don't know. Because she put in the motion like over a week ago, so she had, you know, some time to prepare. I don't know either.
Your Honor, I believe that there has been a violation of the Constitution here. There is, Ms. Adelson and I have not been permitted to talk behind this glass wall that they're speaking of. The first time we spoke was Friday. She was on speakerphone, I was on speakerphone, and she was sitting with a guard seated next to her. And the only way that that call was facilitated was because Ms. Georgia Kappelman was nice enough to call the jail and arrange it. I have called the jail repeatedly over the past 22 days, begging to be permitted to either speak to Mrs. Adelson or for Mrs. Adelson to speak to me, and no one responds. As to
Yeah, that's weird to me. I wonder what's up with that. Hey, Bobby.
Mr. Toomey's response that nobody has called him, nobody has asked him for records. I tried calling the general counsel's office repeatedly in the past week to try to resolve this issue.
Did she also try to call and ask for the records, but she was unable to?
I understand what's being said today in court, and like I said in my motion, I understand that there's separation of powers, and I understand that the court is limited in what they can do in directing the jail. But I think that one thing that Your Honor can do is, you have heard that the jail, and Mr. Toomey said, he's the arbiter in this state. All jails run the same. The jail in Miami-Dade County cleared Mrs. Adelson, a psychiatrist, a mental health professional that works for the state, that works for the Department of Corrections, has said that she is not required to be on direct observation. She comes here and all of a sudden that changes.
That's what I want to know. I want to know what changed, or did they just fudge up?
So I feel that there's some sort of disconnect, and I think that there needs to be a third party evaluating her to make the determination. And I think that that's not an unreasonable ask. That's something that the jail can accept, and I think the state is not opposed to that. So that's what I'm asking the court, to allow me to bring in my own mental health professional to evaluate Mrs. Adelson and make a determination whether or not she is a suicide risk, or for the jail to accept the determination or speak to the jailers in Miami-Dade County that observed her and made a completely different determination about her mental state.
Mr. Toomey and Mr. Pimentel, what administrative remedies are actually available to inmates absent the court stepping in?
That is a key question when it comes to injunctions. That's
Yes.
what we thought. There are two means. First, that there's a grievance procedure in the jail that can and must be followed. Second, there is always civil suit, either in this courthouse or the fancy courthouse up the street. So there are legal avenues in place that preclude the entry of an injunction.
Wait, file a grievance or a civil suit, like sue the, like sue them. She's like, oh no, that's more paperwork, it's more headache. Hi, Suppressor, how are you doing today? How's it going? Hello, hello. There's a grievance procedure in jail, okay.
That can and must be followed. Second, there is always civil suit, either in this courthouse or the fancy courthouse up the street. So there are legal avenues in place that preclude the entry of an injunction. There was something that was just said. I am not the arbiter for the state. I am for this client in the jails that they have in this state when it comes to sending out the medical records. It's either by release or by subpoena. The authority is there.
Mr. Pimentel, do you have anything further to argue on behalf of the sheriff?
Well, Your Honor, I need to put something on the record first. James Pimentel, General Counsel of the Sheriff's Office. I've been Sheriff McNeil's General Counsel for almost 7 years now. I've never heard from this attorney. I haven't heard from anyone representing this defendant. Any assertion, sir, that they've attempted to contact the Office of General Counsel. I have a paralegal. I have email. I've never been contacted by this defendant or this defendant's counsel.
I'm sorry, I'm just so nosy. I just want to know what's going on. Does she have like the wrong numbers that she's dialing? Is the paralegal not answering her phones? There's something up with the voice messages? Because she said she was been trying to call for like 22 days. I want to know what's going on. I don't think we're going to find out though.
Very well. I'm going to make my findings as follows. As to the issue of there being a Sixth Amendment violation where there is no access by Ms. Adelson to counsel of record, I cannot find that.
I don't think she's lying. I don't think she's lying. I don't think she would lie. I think there's just something weird is going on. I think I usually tend to believe that rather than just be like, oh my God, they're lying, you know, unless I see a pattern of lying or indications of lying, then I'll be like, okay, this motherfucker's lying over here. But I don't know, something's up. Is the lawyer incompetent? People make mistakes. She seems like a competent person. Or maybe it's just because her aggression is just appealing to me or something. I don't know. There's just something is up.
However, Ms. Adelson being able to confer with counsel privately, Mr. Toomey, Mr. Pimentel, is there an ability to make accommodation for that even in the observation wing?
Yes, Your Honor, there is. Chief Mack and I will work to ensure that. We have a protocol, Your Honor.
Very well. What I would ask you to do then is please speak with defense counsel as to what accommodations can be made so she can visit with counsel privately as she prepares for her case. Obviously, there's a very voluminous amount of discovery that's already been provided by the state. Is that correct, Ms. Kappelman?
Yes, Your Honor.
She is going to need to be able to speak in private with her attorney and go through all documents, all records, all manner of evidence that the state is seeking to use as a part of its case in chief. Does she
Georgia Kaplan, can you please teach a defense attorney how to get in contact with Donna Adelson? I mean, Georgia was able to do it. How did Georgia do it?
have ability to use either a computer or some form of multimedia while in direct observation?
Your Honor, she wouldn't be able to do it while in the direct observation cell, but we would make accommodation. through security to make that occur.
Very well. According to the policy that you already have in place, when will her status as residing in direct observation be revisited?
Every day, Your Honor.
Yeah, every day. That's what they're saying.
Right, Mr. Scalzo, as to issuing an injunction against the jail, I do not believe I have the authority to do so. The District Court of Appeal rulings, and I'm specifically going to cite to Bradshaw versus Sandler. This is found at 955 Southern 2nd, 1219, 4th DCA case from 2007. That specifically dealt with a trial court who ordered a defendant to be taken to a dentist of his choosing. Similar, by analogy, for me to allow Ms. Adelson to be seen by a psychiatrist or psychologist that is a third party is stepping on the separation of powers in that regard. Until there's been an exhaustion of remedies with regard to whatever internal procedure is available for her to avail herself of regarding grievances or other matters with the jail, an injunction is not something that I can entertain at this point.
Okay.
Did you wish to be
Motion
heard
denied.
further?
No, Your Honor, not on this topic.
Ms. Kappelman, did you have anything further you wish to argue on behalf of the state? Right, Mr. Toomey, Mr. Pimentel, and Chief Mack, if you can get with defense counsel, I think that will eliminate next time the need to have any hearings on a basis such as this. Obviously, Ms. Adelson wants to prepare for her trial. She is entitled to do so, but the sheriff runs the jail. I fully recognize that, and I respect that. Do you wish to be heard further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Right, let's move on to the matter of the
All right, judge says, y'all figure it out.
arraignment, also why we were here this afternoon as well.
Excuse, Judge?
You are excused.
Your Honor, before they're excused, I would like them to provide me, yes, their business card so that I...
Hey, Torigen.
Thank you.
That's fine.
All right, we're swapping business cards now. Does anyone think this is some type of tactic from the defense? I would love to hear the jailhouse call the show with Charlie. I was thinking maybe, because I thought it was really weird that she would reveal her plans to Charlie on a jailhouse call, especially knowing that these calls are recorded and people do listen to them. I was wondering if she thought maybe they were going to come after her, and she was like, well, you know what? If they come after me and they put me in jail, I want to make sure I'm in like a medical facility hold or something like that, because maybe the conditions are me better. I don't know. I was thinking maybe that's what she was probably trying to do by saying that. Or maybe it would help with her defense that she's not mentally competent to stand trial. I don't know. This is me super stretching here. Because I was just really wondering, why the hell was she saying all this on the jailhouse call? Because maybe she knew that they were going to go after her and arrest her at some point, and maybe she was trying to be like, oh, I'm mentally incompetent to stand trial. Like I want to harm myself. I don't know. I don't know what was going on. I think this specifically here, I think there is a major disconnect, especially with the lawyer saying she hasn't been able to meet with the client, and then the jail is like, well, they're free to meet. I don't know what the issue is. And then Donna's, over there shaking her head at, when Chief Mack was saying that, like, oh, like she's evaluated on a daily basis. And Donna's like, no, like not even once. Like Donna's saying that she was never even evaluated even once. I think the defense attorney's even saying that, like, oh, Donna was only evaluated once by a different doctor. So I don't know. There's something, there's a disconnect here. I think Donna, it seems like from Donna's perspective, and the lawyer's perspective as well, that they're just pissed that, like, there's been a lot of issues and they just want to meet together, go over discovery and stuff like that, but they haven't been able to. So, yeah, I don't know. I think the tactic would have been the jailhouse call before she was arrested. I think everything that happened afterwards, I don't know if this is like a tactic of some sort. I think both sides just have, or one side definitely have their grievances, and the other side is just saying like, oh, there's no issue. Like, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
I wrote to you on LinkedIn because I couldn't find you anymore.
should have left the country and wrote Charlie a letter. I also was wondering, maybe that's why they didn't show up to Charlie's trial in person, because maybe they were already, hovering that hand over, or hovering the mouse button over the buy tickets button. They're at home watching the live stream for the trial, and at any point where they're starting to realize that, like, hey, they might come after us next, we're just gonna book it out of here. Because I just wonder why they didn't show up for the trial in person to support their son.
Right.
Yeah, I do want to watch Jeffrey Lacoste's testimony and Charlie Adelson as well. I think we're going to be doing that either this week or next week.
As to the matter of the arraignment, does your client waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
How does she plead?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
Not guilty plea is entered for the record. While we're here, we might as well have a brief case management as well. Ms. Kappelman, I believe you stated you've already provided discovery to the defense.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Scalzo, realistically, how much time do you think it's going to take you to go through what you've already received?
Your Honor, as long as I have access to Mrs. Adelson, as has been stated here in court, and she has access to be able, as you know, there's recordings in this case, and as long as she's able to listen.
Yep, we want them to have access to each other so things can go smoothly as possible. Because things always happen, right, for trial stuff. But hopefully things are going to be smooth.
To them, and we're able to listen to them together. We plan to proceed to trial promptly.
Very well.
Okay, good to hear.
I was thinking of when another case management date would be good to kind of keep a good status of this as far as where it's moving. Is February too early, or would you prefer March?
No, Your Honor, I'd like earlier. I don't, as long as I can communicate with Mrs. Adelson, I'm happy to have a status in January.
We like it.
That works for the court and the state.
We like it.
Kappelman?
Yes, sir. Be available in January.
I definitely don't want to push too hard too fast, but once we get locked into a trial date, absent there being good cause,
Oh, Mandy, I don't think anyone feels bad for Donna. Trust me, I don't feel bad for Donna. But we do want to make sure that she's treated fairly, because she is presumed innocent before she's, presumed guilty. And we just want to make sure everything runs smoothly, just so there's no issues later down the road. That way, when the trial happens, it's just smooth sailing. We don't want any more dark stuff happening. But yeah, I don't think anyone feels bad for Donna.
really not going backwards, so I want you to take.
Like in the motion, they wrote, like, what did they write? 73-year-old grandmother. I think just try to get a little bit of sympathy in there. Nah.
Give me realistic estimates as far as how much time it's going to take to prepare. As far as any depositions that you're already aware of that you are going to take in this matter, have you identified those? Have you noticed any?
No, Your Honor, because I have not been able to discuss that with Mrs. Adelson.
Very well. We'll pick back up with this then in January for status. Cheyenne, if you could give me the dates for January.
January 9th or 10th.
All right, we'll put it on January 9th. I believe that's Ms. Dugan's docket date. January 9th at 2:30. You may appear by Zoom if you need to. And we'll readdress the matter then. Does either party have anything further to address concerning case management, at least for today?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
We are in recess.
January
For
9th,
everyone on the
2024.
Zoom,
Wow,
I'm
less than a
about to
month
turn
away.
it off. That was the conclusion of the hearing. Have a good afternoon.
I'll give it to you. They say it don't belong to observation.
All right, let's take a look at our calendar. Yeah, we're gonna go over the calendar. Unless things have changed, but Boone is also January. What's her lawyer's name again? Was it Maricel?
Deputy Vaughn, you can give him 5 minutes, but then we need to
Marcella?
shut.
I have Scalzo. Oh man, I just can't imagine being like right now, in my 30s, being in jail sounds very uncomfortable. I have a mattress that I like sleeping on. I got some medication that I like to take, like having access to, like, what if you get a UTI, getting access to like antibiotics, like ASAP, like I like drinking lots of water, I like working out, like, I don't know. It just seems really uncomfortable to just be in fucking jail at age 70 something. I got back issues. I got like foot inserts because I got foot issues as well. Like, oh man. Oh, Donna. Was it worth it? Was it worth it, Donna? Do you have any regrets? All right, y'all. I hope you guys have a good one. I'm going to pop on out now, and I guess I'll work on editing the videos. I do have a new storytime true crime video out if you guys want to check it out about Caitlin Armstrong, the yoga instructor who changed her face and went to Costa Rica. Yeah, I hope you guys have a good one. Thank you so much for hanging out. Join the Discord if you haven't already. We have a true crime channel. You guys can post stuff about cases and anything you want me to cover. Feel free to do that. Or if you don't want to do true crime related topics, there's other topics in there as well. You guys can chat and follow, I don't know, socials, I guess. Socials, YouTube, blah, 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 and all that stuff. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you guys have a good one and take care.